before getting ready to prep our tire. Now I picked this big old Wrangler tire for our designer tire swing, and the only thing I need to do with this tire is to scrub it clean to prep it. The reason being is because I chose a dark color fabric to go over it, which is going to adhere to it really nice and give it a really nice cover. Now, if you decide to go with a light color fabric, especially a white, something with a white background, you're going to want to test your tire. All three of these tires were primed at the same time, but you can see how the colors have changed, or this one has stayed the same. So if you apply and want a bright white background and want to keep it, you're going to want to test it. Prime that tire, let it sit for about a week, and make sure that the color doesn't come through in the primer. Now, if you chose a fabric like this tire, when it's first primed, is bright white, but it'll change like this. This won't affect this fabric, and you'll still have a really nice look with the finish on this one. So just consider that when you're choosing your fabric. So let's go ahead and start scrubbing this big tire. So let's clean this tire. You're going to need a bunch of dry rags. I like to use a board to set the tire on to keep it up off the table after it's all wet so the tire can dry easier. Of course, we have our big old bucket. I like to use a hand mitt, a scrub brush, and then you can use a water hose or a power washer. I like Dawn dish soap. It seems to get the job done, but if you have a really greasy tire, you might want to use a degreaser. But I try to pick tires that aren't that bad, so. I've got a razor knife here because we've got these little, what I call nubbins on tires. Those need to be cut off before you make your project, because when they're painted or we apply the fabric, those turn almost to needle-like. So it's important to get all of those off just for safety. I'm going to speed this up so you can see the whole process. So you want to really try to look for tires that don't have them all over. That's the ideal scenario. Once all of those are off, I've done the other side already. We're going to just go ahead and scrub it. So I like to start with the scrub brush. And this tire I chose was really not that dirty, so it's an easy clean. Just scrub it all around. And of course, I like to get the inside too. And we're going to speed this up because this is pretty simple to do. As you go along, you'll see maybe little pebbles or something in the tread. You're going to want to make sure to pop those out. You can use your razor knife for that. Scrub both sides, the inside, and get it as clean as you can. Now, the reason I like to use this cleaning mitt is because I can actually feel the tire. So if there's like a big hole, sometimes there's a patch hole on it, you just want to feel it so you know how to position your swing, or maybe you need to cover that hole in a special way or something. So the mitt allows me to actually feel the tire. Maybe I missed something, you know. So again, we're going to speed up. Now we're just going to simply rinse the tire. Now, of course, the water is going to catch inside because it has that lip on it. But once the tire's all rinsed really well, we're going to do a little bit of shaking of that tire to shake the water out. I just rock it back and forth. It's a little heavy, but that's okay. It's going to be worth it. Then you're just going to dry it. So I like to get that water out of the inside first. Just let a rag absorb the water, and then just go around the inside and dry that all out. And then do the same for the outside. Just go along and dry it all off. I got to clean my table because it's soaking wet. So then that's when you put the board down. Then you can prop the tire up on top of it. And there you go. Your tire's all clean. Just let it air dry and we're ready for the next step. So our last step in prepping the tire is to drill the holes where the ropes are going to go. The ropes are going to go through the top and down out the bottom, and then we're going to tie a knot when this is all done. But pre-drilling the holes is the best way to go. Now, when I do this, it's really not that hard because every tire has a pattern. Now I've drilled the holes on the top, and I'm going to demonstrate drilling the holes here in a minute. But first I want to show you how I decided where the holes go. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this last prep step done. You're going to need a tape measure and your drill with that 1.5 inch saw hole attachment. You see it's got a drill bit in the center, those jagged edges to cut a nice circle. The front holes are going to be wide apart so that you can hop onto the swing, and the side holes are going to be close together because the rope's going to run through those holes and form a triangle, go through the top to the bottom and tie a knot. Now, how do I find out where to put those holes? Well, tires have patterns, and this one has this pattern on each side directly across from each other. So I know that if I measure the same distance from each side of the pattern, that the holes will be lined up. So this one, I measured 4 inches from the corner of each of the pattern and marked it, and then I drilled the holes. So now I need to put the holes on the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly how I did that. So again, I'm going to look for the pattern on the tire, which is this little diamond. Measure 4 inches. You can use a marker, highlighter, whatever, anything, so you just can tell where that 4-inch mark is. And then 4 inches from the other side of the design. Now, this doesn't have to be exact. You can tell just by eyeing it that the mark is right above the holes that are already drilled. So you're just going to put your weight on the drill. You want to try to stay above it. Sometimes it's a little tough. The rubber actually squeezes into it, so it can be a little tough sometimes. Just keep plugging away. And then when you finally do get through it, this one didn't go all the way through, so I got to try it again. The rubber actually squeezes it. So you got to like jiggle that saw hole out of there to get it out. That's the one thing I do like about rubber tires, is when you're drilling in like screws in that, it really squeezes them in. So it just makes for a better project. So there's my hole again, lined up, my mark. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish drilling the holes on this side of the tire. Again, a little jiggling to get it out. Sometimes the little round stays inside the drill, so you need to be careful because of the blades. And sometimes it just falls out. So I'm going to go to the other side, do the exact same thing, 4 inches from each side of the design to get my holes lined up. That drill bit is right in the center, so that helps you secure your spot. Just apply the pressure, push down, and jiggle, jiggle, and there you go. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward and finish off the last hole, and there we have it. So we've got 4 holes on each side lined up, ready to run our ropes through, and that's the last step for the tire prep. So on to Module 5.